Hey YouTube, I'm back once again. This is going to be the second video in this series, once again inspired by BluRayBulletBrit's movie challenge. This week being D, E and F. So basically I'll go through the rules again because I actually missed one, quite important one last week. So it is top 10 movies that you would watch during the current situation, i.e. in a lockdown, quarantine, or even you would take to a desert island. And the rules being this week it's D, E and F. So movies that fit into the alphabet D, E and F. Again, it's a top 10, and what I missed last week, although I was fully aware of it, there have to be movies that you own, so they've got to be in your own collection. I'm going to add one little rule myself, going through the collection for this video. I noticed there were a few franchises. Obviously you've got the Die Hard series, you've got the Fast and the Furious series, there's even the Ernest movies, and also another one that I've picked specifically for this this video, that you'll find out shortly. So I decided to have only one movie from any franchise in each top 10. So for instance, Fast and Furious movies, I mean there's a whole bunch of them, there's 9 in total, including Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. To be fair, one of those movies doesn't fit in this category because it's too fast, too furious, so that's numbers, which we haven't done the numbers yet. I'm assuming they're going to be at the end. For me, I would have had them at the beginning, but it doesn't matter where they are, you know, as long as we get to them at some point. So yeah, I decided that any particular franchise, we can only have one movie from that franchise per video. And that said, I'm going to break that rule immediately. Yeah, so we're going to get into this. Firstly, I'm going to do some honourable mentions like I did last week. Not quite as many this week, which, to be fair, this video was easier to make than last week's, although I did do it in quite a bit of a rush last week at the last minute. I've had a little bit more time to think about it this week. I did eventually have a short list of 29 titles that I had to bring down to 10, obviously, but that meant there was still 19 potential honourable mentions. I brought them down to 6, not to 5. So we'll go through those quickly. I haven't got these in any particular order, but I don't think any collection is complete without Deep Red. It's such a great film. I'm actually going to be watching this today. Over on Instagram, I've been posting over the last couple of days my movies that I'm watching during this lockdown over the Easter weekend. I've kind of been doing 3 a day, and today's movie marathon, or Easter weekend lockdown movie marathon as I've called it, is going to start with this one. I'm just in a mood for a giallo today, so yeah, Deep Red, such a great movie. Fast and the Furious hasn't made my top 10, but I've got one for these honourable mentions. Now I think most people agree that certainly the last few movies of the franchise have been the better ones. You know, from 5 onwards, certainly the more action-packed. Maybe not 8. 8 was, I think, a bit of a step down from the others. But I want to give a bit of love to one of the earlier movies, one of the movies that I think, even as a standalone without the Fast and Furious name, is a fantastic film. and we're going with Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. It's underrated, this film. I think it's great. So this one is not quite in the top 10, but yeah, it's the one I want to mention today. A great 80s horror comedy, Fright Night. What else can be said about that? It's such a fun movie. I love that one. This is kind of a spiritual sequel to A Fish Called Wanda. It's been Fierce Creatures. This is hilariously funny. Yeah, it's not a sequel in any normal sense, other than the fact that for years the cast and I'm not sure if it's the same directors or not. I did intend to look. I looked last night and I didn't. Wanted to get back together to do a sequel to A Fish Called Wanda, but they ended up making a film which was totally different, with different characters, just with the same actors. And this is the result, and it is brilliant. This is a very underrated movie, I think. The Dish. It's a great movie. It's really, 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 really good. Set during the 1969 moon landing on a very small satellite station in Australia. Well, anyway, I won't spoil it too much if you haven't seen it. It's it's definitely one that you should look out for. And actually, I really need to see whether there's a Blu-ray of that, because I've never ever come across it on Blu-ray, and I don't even know if it's been released. Yeah, so they are my honourable mentions. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to immediately break one of my own rules, my only own rule in this this challenge, and I've got two movies from the same franchise. Now, to be fair, these two movies, although it is definitely agreed they are from the same franchise, and they're by the same director, they share no common cast or characters, at least that I'm aware of. They're set quite a few years apart in completely different locations. They are the same genre of movie, and I thought, well, I can justify this if I've got a set that both movies appear in, which I do. In fact, I have two. Of course, these are George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, which I have actually two different sets from Arrow, but these are my go-to. Oh, blimey. Sorry about that. We're all wonky now. There we go. But I also have these two DVD sets, which are extremely rare. And neither of these are in the best condition, but they took some finding. And I'm just glad that I've got these. But again, not my go-tos. When I watch either of these movies, I've got the Blu-rays, of course. Dawn of the Dead, probably one of my favourite movies of all time. I adore this film. Day of the Dead is really good, really, really, really good. But Dawn of the Dead, I adore. So they are the first two movies in this top 10. Secondly, or thirdly, if you like, I mentioned this in the last video, that I would probably have this in this video, and of course it's Dogma. There is no UK Blu-ray release for this, and the US Blu-ray is out print and extremely expensive. So for now, I just have to make do with this one. My favourite Kevin Smith movie. Again, I love this film. It's so good. A film that, although I've known about ever since it was released, I never actually got around to watching it until I bought this release 3 years ago, I think. Donnie Darko. Again, is it underrated? I don't know that it is underrated, actually. It was definitely underrated by me. I just passed it off as something that I didn't think I would have any interest in. And it is fantastic. And this Arrow release, once again, is stunning. And another Arrow release, I could have done a top 10 actually with just Arrow movies, but I didn't go that way because there's other movies that are definitely put above some of those Arrow releases. But this is a great comedy from the 1980s. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Again, really funny, fun movie. And another, I think most of these now, not all, but most of these are comedies. Fanboys. This is a film. When I first heard about it, I thought I've got to watch that. And the bonus having Kristen Bell in there as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really enjoyed this movie. And talking to Kevin Smith, both Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes have cameos in this film as well as a bunch of other people, Star Wars and Star Trek related. Probably my favourite, if not joint favourite, 80s film or 80s comedy, and certainly John Hughes movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is what was the HMV exclusive, but I think you can get these in other spots now. I'm pretty sure Zoom sell these, but this is the VHS packaging version of this film. Saw this in the cinema and loved it from the very first time I saw it, and went back quite a few times. I think it was 1986, and saw it in the cinema, and I've owned a copy on one format or another ever since, from VHS through DVD and now Blu-ray. This is another Arrow release, but as I'm looking at this, I realise I have a Blu-ray. So I'm just going to grab that off the shelf, if I can reach it. There we go. So we've got a Final Girl. So that's the Arrow DVD that I bought. I pre-ordered and bought that, but they never released a Blu-ray, and there is no UK Blu-ray. I ended up buying this French release last year. Again, I really like this film. It's fun's not the right word, but it's great. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely watch it. Then a film that I never hear anybody talk about, and I don't know where I even first heard about this film, but I imagine I probably saw Ava Green's name on the cover and thought, oh, I'll give that a go. This is Franklin. It's a very weird movie, but I really like it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just something that you've got to see. I think it might be a bit of a Marmite film. I think some people either love it or hate it, but I love it. And then finally, and this is another comedy that I imagine not a lot of people have heard of, and I think I found this in a rental shop originally. Again, the last time I checked, and it's been a little while, there was no Blu-ray release anywhere in the world. This is Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel. So much fun, and not a bad cast either. You've got Anna Faris, Chris O'Dowd, Dean Lennox Kelly was always really funny and shameless. And I want to say it was probably the cast that attracted me to it, but it's not true. It's anything with the word time travel or about time travel, I'm going to give it a try. And this is a great comedy, and I really enjoy this, and I'm going to be watching this today because I haven't seen it for a few years. So there we go, another top 10. What have we got next time? GH and I imagine. Peter will be putting out his video, I think, on Tuesday. Does he normally do it on Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it's Tuesday. I might be wrong about that. Movie Mad did his on Friday, I believe. In fact, he's done 2, and he says he's doing another one, which is great. I don't know of anyone else that's doing these. Let me know if you've done one of these lockdown top 10 videos, because I'm really curious to see what other people have put in their top 10s. But so far, there's only the two others, Peter and James, that have done theirs. So yeah, that's it. That's another top 10 done. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Ta-ra.